Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. Let's talk about burnout. You know, sometimes when you're talking to your friends and you all are both talking about, girl, I was up till 12 o'clock last night. Well, girl, I was up to 2 o'clock and I had all these errands to run and I had to do this and I had to do that. Sometimes we try to like outcompete each other in different ways where we almost seem to have like this exhaustion kind of marathon. Like it's a badge of honor to be exhausted. We're here to talk about burnout and how that really is not a badge of honor. So we really need to reevaluate ways that we look at exhaustion as Black women. So let's talk about burnout, not only in our personal lives, but also in the workplace. So if you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I've been licensed for over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I am a toxic job liberator for Black women. I love to share options for Black women if you're in a toxic workplace. I also know that for many Black women, they have experienced job loss during this time. And so I really want to support as many Black women as I can, understanding that many Black women are in a state of fear right now in relation to jobs, a lot of job instability, a lot of concerns about what to do about money. So Dr. Dr. Roche is a financial psychologist. Dr. Roche and I are hosting an emergency money tips masterclass for Black women this Thursday. So this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. This is for Black women who recently lost their jobs or for Black women who kind of feel like something might be happening with their jobs and kind of want to get a sense of what are the emergency money tips that I need to really protect myself during this time? What are the emergency money tips that I need so that when things go down or if things have gone down, what are the things that I need to do to be okay? So again, Dr. Roche is a financial psychologist. Again, this is this Thursday, the Emergency Money Tips Masterclass. Also, just want to briefly tell you that as a privacy consideration, this is Zoom webinar. So you will not be seen on camera. Only Dr. Roche and I will be on camera. Information about the emergency money class, masterclass is going across the screen. It is also in the description section of this video. Okay, so I hope that you are able to attend. I won't see you, but you can see me there. Okay, so without further ado, I want to share with you that one of my Spelman sisters is our guest today. So we're going to turn it over to Dr. Kweli Carson for her to introduce herself. Go on, sis.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kweli Carson, and I am known as Dr. Kweli, the anti-burnout coach. So I'm a Spelman grad, class of 1991 for all the Spelmanites on the call. And what I do is I help high achieving professional women to either prevent or reverse burnout while being kind to themselves. I'm a huge proponent of self-compassion. I even wrote a book about self-care, self-compassion, and self-love for Black women. So thank you for having me, Dr. Kimani.
Of course, sis. So actually, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. Because when we think about burnout, I think burnout has been normalized so often for Black women. And I think that we have seen our mothers, our sisters, our cousins, our friends just work, overwork. So that's been normalized in our community, in our personal lives, and in the workplace. So when you hear about burnout, how would you define burnout in relation to the workplace and in our personal lives? What does it look like, or what does it typically look like for Black women?
I would say that it is that like bone deep exhaustion. It doesn't matter that you got a full night sleep. It doesn't matter that you had the weekend off. You're just exhausted physically, mentally, emotionally. You feel like you can't take on one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's lots of different definitions that I've seen over the years. One of the other ones that I love says that you, in addition to being exhausted, you also begin to have decreased motivation. You're not really showing up as your best self. You can start to not care about certain things that used to be very important to you.
Mm,
And a big one for me, and all of these things were how I experienced burnout. And I forgot to say that I was a root canal specialist, had my own practice, experienced severe burnout, closed my practice, and changed my life. But one of the things that showed up for me, besides the exhaustion, was a very negative attitude towards myself and others. So
mm,
that's another indicator. But the
mm,
biggest thing is just that bone deep exhaustion.
And you know what? I'm so glad you said that because I know that I've encountered many Black women, and even when I was at a toxic job, that exhaustion, like you talk about, the exhaustion is not only just the so much work that you're doing, but it's also like maybe the masking that you're doing when you're at the job. And it's handling so many different responsibilities that you almost think that you can get caught up on your the exhaustion over the weekend, like getting extra rest. But it's like that bone deep tired that you will never get enough rest from that. Never. And so, what I'm curious about, Dr. Kweli, is if we could just again take another step back, and if you can kind of share with us your journey of walking away from your practice, because I just think about that took a lot of work for you to get to where you were professionally, a lot of work. So, how did it get to the point where you made the very difficult decision of walking away from your practice and saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and it was a very, very difficult decision. So I went, to Spelman for 4 years, went to dental school for 4 years, went to residency for 3 years. So all of this
Mm,
education in order to become an endodontist or root canal
mhm,
specialist,
mhm,
and had worked for someone else, decided I want to have my own practice, my dream practice with everything how I want it, and built the practice. It was
mhm,
beautiful, had a great culture, good staff, all of the things, but it was constant stress. I
mm.
mean, and not only am I doing root canals, which just that
Wow.
is stressful, doing
Right.
root canals
Ooh.
all day on folks. And I'm an empath, so I'm absorbing their fear.
Mm,
They are coming in, they're saying, oh my gosh, I was up all night with all of this pain. And so, all of that is wearing on me. But in addition to that, I'm managing my staff. I'm
mm,
running all the things in the practice. I'm a
mhm,
specialist. So I'm
mm,
also building relationships with other dentists. And even when we were on vacation, I would still be, that the dental practice was always on my mind. So
mm,
it was just constant stress. And it started to get to the point where um, I felt exhausted, but you
mhm.
know what we do. Oh,
Keep it moving.
I'm good. I'm good. I
Mhm,
push through
mhm,
that. And
mhm.
then one night I was here at home and I was feeling really bad. And they tell us in dental school that a patient who's about to have a medical emergency will feel this impending sense of doom. And that's exactly what I felt. I felt like
Mhm,
something bad. I don't know what's happening, but something bad is happening. And
mm.
asked my husband to take me to the emergency room, and he did. We got there. They took my blood pressure and said, your blood pressure is extremely high. And I said,
Ooh.
oh, take it again. My blood pressure has been low my whole life. That must be a mistake. So they took it again and again. It was still high.
Wow.
Um, I was also dehydrated because
Mm.
Dr. Kimani, I would not drink water because I didn't want to have to take a bathroom break and be
Oh my
late for my
goodness.
patient. So I was taking care of everyone else except for myself, not
Wow.
just completely. Um,
That's the epitome of giving, 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 giving to other people, and you're totally depleted to the point you're not even
totally,
drinking water
totally.
to avoid
I
going to the
mean,
bathroom.
it's just ridiculous to say the
Wow.
words now, because I'm
Yeah.
not taking care of myself on a basic level.
Yeah.
So I was dehydrated, high blood pressure. So that
Mm.
was kind of a wake-up call, like, okay, I
Mhm.
need to start making some changes.
Mhm.
So long story short, I didn't really make that many changes. I started having panic attacks. Like
Woo.
my health was declining, my physical health, my mental health, and it got to the point where I was like, "This is going to take me out of here. Like this,
Mm.
I'm not doing well."
So it just
And
got worse.
it continued to just get worse. And there were several things that happened along the way. I hired associates. I was trying to, get help
You were
managing
trying to make it
different
work.
things, trying to do everything I could because we had put
Mhm.
so much, my husband and
Mm.
I,
Mhm.
financially, we had put so
Mhm.
much into the practice. I
Mhm.
had put all of my, efforts, blood, sweat, and tears into this
Mhm.
practice. So, I was thinking, failure is not an option here. Like we got to make this work. But
Mm.
I just realized it was breaking me down. I mean,
Wow.
it was really bad.
So it was the
So,
job or me. And what's interesting is it was your own business. It's
yes.
your own
I didn't
business.
have a toxic boss.
Right. 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 But it was the pressure of a job.
Mhm.
And so from that point when you went to the emergency room, how long did it take for you to decide I got to walk away? How long?
It was not a full year because the emergency room happened in 2014.
Mhm.
And I also remember that year I went to Oprah had something in DC called the Life You Want weekend.
Hmm.
And I went to that.
Mhm.
And one of the things I learned there was what my values were.
Hmm.
I took a couple days after that, sat down and really thought about it. And my values were love, service, and freedom.
Hmm.
And I realized I am not living freedom at all. I
And you
mean,
weren't loving yourself. You weren't showing love to yourself. You were showing love to your
correct.
patients.
And to everyone else, taking care
Mhm.
of everyone and everything
Mhm.
else like we
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
Um, and so once I realized that, I mean, it was kind of, um, I wrote I wrote love, service, and freedom on a little sticky, and it was in my car. So I was reminded of it all the time.
Mm.
And the good thing was I realized, okay, I'm not living my values. I mean, I need
Mm.
to make some changes.
Yeah.
So that was 2014. And then at the beginning of 2015, I had a conversation actually with two of our Spelman sisters, my classmates who are attorneys, and just telling them everything. And one of them said to me, like, well, what do you want? Do you
Mm.
want to keep on doubling down on doing everything you can to save the practice and to
Mm.
keep going, or what? And I was like,
Mhm.
no, I don't. I'm watching myself deteriorate.
Wow.
And so that was the moment where I was like, okay, what do I actually really want? So
Mhm.
talked to my husband, and he was kind of like, yeah, you can't keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
This
you're not gonna make it, number 1. You're not gonna make it. It really speaks to the importance of having a really good support system and having people around us so we can have real talk conversations with.
Yes.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
so what was the process of actually letting it go? What was that process?
So,
And Dr. Quayle, this is a big question. This is a big question because I can imagine inquiring minds want to know. Was there any fear? Was there any
oh,
fear of walking away? And how did you deal with the fear?
there was so there were so many emotions. Fear, I was embarrassed, it was a lot
Hmm.
of a lot of shame
Wow.
because, I had put all of this into this practice. Plus, when you go to school for that long for something, your identity is all wrapped up
Mm,
in that thing. And
right.
so the thought of, having to release some of that,
Mhm,
there were so many feelings. Yes, a lot of fear for sure, and uncertainty about, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen. But
mhm,
I will tell you, it was a hot mess. Like, I,
mhm.
I didn't do all of the neat things and tie it up with a bow. I didn't go through the sales process and all that. I literally closed the practice and walked away.
Wow.
And I had, a couple of different health issues. So I closed the practice. I had surgery right after that. And then I really started dedicating myself to taking care of myself.
Wow.
But it was a mess. It was financially, it was a mess. It wasn't cute, girl.
Mm. So it was like a major upheaval.
It was
Major
major
upheaval.
life change.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly though, it was ugly and messy and all that, but it was the best thing that could happen to me.
Okay.
Um,
And in what way?
in the way that after the practice was closed, I
Mhm.
was able to actually live life. Before, when the practice was open, um, I really wasn't present at home.
Mhm.
So my daughter, was in high school at that time, and you know, I feel so bad. It all worked out, but I feel
Yeah.
so bad about some of the uh, even when she was a little kid, I would go pick her up. I was the last mom to get there for aftercare, and then I would take her
Mhm.
back to the office so I could
Mhm.
finish up my charts. She would
Mhm.
eat like a lean cuisine, one of those frozen, or was it, the frozen
Yeah, the
meals.
frozen meals, yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. But so what this allowed me to do was, I closed the practice, I had
Mhm.
surgery, recovered
Mhm.
from the surgery, started working for someone else, but
Mm.
as an associate dentist. So
Okay.
still doing
So
root
that's what
canals.
that was a pivot.
Yes, a
Okay.
pivot from practice owner to associate.
Right.
So I'm now working in someone else's office. And then when it's 5 o'clock, I go home and now I'm
Less
present with
pressure.
my daughter.
Mhm.
So that was wonderful. She was, at that time, I think we were about to get into the process of applying to college. She ended up
Mhm.
going to Spelman. She's a Spelman grad. Yes.
Good. Good, good, good.
So that it was good timing for that. And
Mhm.
then later, I had a larger pivot where instead of practicing, I became a dental consultant.
Oh,
So, kind of got on the non-clinical side of it. And then I had another pivot, wrote a book, and then I had another pivot, became a coach. So I've just
look at all
been,
these pivots. Look at these pivots. Look, well, let me just say something to the people, okay? As you're hearing Dr. Quayle's story about pivots, sometimes when you're in a situation and you talked about going to school for so long and so much of your identity was, connected to, wow, went to school for so long and oh my God, the shame, I'm walking away. But you just told me you were still able to do the work, but in a different capacity.
that's right.
You were able to be an associate. You were able to be a dental consultant. Then you were able to do this. You were able to do all these things. And I want Black women to be able to hear a takeaway from this is that they may be working a job or have their own business doing something, and they may be able to pivot and do all these other things that initially they may not be able to envision. Because number one, they may be so exhausted, they can't even think about it, right? So mentally, physically, they're so exhausted, they can't even think of something else to do. That's the one thing. The second thing is sometimes you feel so defeated that you can't see yourself doing something else. And that's when you need to have really good people around you who maybe can see something bigger in you and pour into you. So you were able to do all these pivots. And so even though you were able to do these pivots, did your identity become less wrapped up into what you were doing? Because you said your identity was so wrapped up into your job, right? Your title.
Yes. I would say, that's an interesting question because I see myself differently now.
Okay.
See myself not just as all the things that I'm doing,
Mhm.
but kind of who I am being.
Right? It's not what you do, it's who you are.
Mhm.
Right? And I want to quote Stephanie Perry, right? A job is what we do to make money. It is not who we are. And I think
Mhm.
sometimes we confuse that, right? We conflate that
Mhm.
because as Black people, that's how we were brought to this country about what we do. We're in labor, we're in service to other people. And we have to remember that was because people have dehumanized us and they
Mhm.
exploit our labor. And so we have to say, wait a minute, I am not a job. That's not the only thing I am. That's something I do, but that's not the full totality of who I am. So I'm glad that you recognize that. So, Dr. Quelly, it sounds like you have like carved out this whole new way of life for yourself.
I really have.
Yeah. Okay.
It
Okay.
it's you could have never told me. I was one of these people who, when I was in high school, I got braces and
Mm-hmm.
decided that I was going to be an orthodontist. And then I pivoted to being an endodontist or root canal
Mm-hmm.
specialist. But I was one of those kids that decided at age 16, oh, I'm going to be a dentist, put on the blinders and just, went talked to the guidance counselor at my high school and said, what do I need to do? And they said, you need to do A, B, C, D, E. And I said, okay, check, check, check. Put the
Mm-hmm.
blinders on. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and do it. So you could
Mm-hmm.
have never told me
Mm-hmm.
that I would have written a book, first of all. I mean, what? That I would be coaching women, like, you could
Like
have
who you talking
never
about?
told me that. I thought I
Right.
was going to be doing root canals until the end of time. So,
Right, right. And sometimes, I'm glad you said that too, because sometimes we feel that we're very regimented, that we're very structured, but sometimes God might have a different path for us. And we
mhm,
have to say, okay, God, I surrender. Like, you let me know which path, because I thought it was this way, but clearly it's not. So you let me know which path to go. So I'm glad that you were able to share with us what that path looked like, because I think other Black women may feel like, the path I'm on is clearly not it. Like, this is not working for me. Like, they might be experiencing physical, mental symptoms, like something's not right, but not sure about what to do next. But what
mhm.
we're talking about is just be open to the pivot, be open to the possibilities. So,
Yes.
Dr. Quelly, can we talk about maybe reasons why some Black women might view exhaustion as a badge of honor? Why do you think that might be?
So, something that you just said, I think we are conditioned
Mhm.
to um, feel like we need to prove ourselves,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we are the workhorses,
Mhm.
that we are the ones who raise our hands and say, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is just part of how we are conditioned. And once we have the awareness of that, or once we start to see that that's not working for us, it is
Mhm.
possible to make changes. But I just
Mhm.
want to say to anyone who's listening, it is not a badge of honor to
It
be
is not.
exhausted.
Yeah.
And it is more important now than ever for us to focus on taking care of ourselves, looking out for ourselves.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not cute.
Can you talk a little bit more about why it is more important? Because I agree. Why is it important now than ever to do that?
So um, I just was yesterday walking with some friends,
Mhm.
and afterwards we went and got some coffee. And we were
Mhm.
talking about how I thought it was 300,000 women have lost their jobs in recent months, but it's closer to
Yeah.
400,000.
400,000 Black women in the past few months. It's disgusting.
It's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, and intentional.
Hmm.
And because of that, there's going to be, we were already proving and overworking and raising our hands,
Hmm.
the high achievers
Hmm.
amongst us.
Hmm.
Um, and now there's going to be more fear, more uncertainty, which I believe will lead to more overworking,
Hmm.
more proving, more
Hmm.
burnout, more health
Hmm.
issues,
Hmm.
more deterioration of us. So
Hmm.
now more than ever, we need to make sure that we are pouring into ourselves, that
Absolutely.
we are taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that not only we have to take intentional steps to take care of ourselves, I think it's important that we look out for each other too. So important to
Absolutely.
look out for each other. So, as we talk about that, can you share what are some of the ways that you help Black women with burnout?
So I would say there's a couple of different ways that I try my best to put information out in the world that will help Black women. The first
Mhm.
one is my book, The Ultimate Self Love Guide for Black Women.
Okay, okay.
The book is divided into 3 sections. The first section is self care, the second section is self compassion, the third section is self love.
Mhm.
And even though that's kind of how my journey went, self care, closing the practice, going to therapy, where I learned about self compassion, being kind to myself, giving myself grace, kind of led to my journey of self love, which I'm still
Mhm.
on and will be
Mhm.
until the day I die.
Mhm.
But this book is divided into those 3 sections. At the
Mhm.
end of each of those sections, there is a page that says 10 actionable ways that you can incorporate self care, self compassion, self love into your life. So I came up with this acronym that is like what I consider to be the self care basics.
Okay.
The, and it is breathe,
Okay.
B.R.E.A.T.H.E. So
Mhm.
breathe, I mean, B for boundaries, R for rest, E for eating well, A for art and creativity, T for therapy, H for hydration, and E for exercise. So on page 74, I believe it is, of the book, there's 10 actionable ways to make self-care a lifestyle. And I kind of is loosely based on the breathe framework is loosely based on those things. So that's the first thing is just
Mhm.
putting this information out here to help Black women to take care of themselves and to see that they are worthy. They were born worthy. We don't have to prove
Mhm.
that we're worthy. We just are. The second thing I do is I coach women, high achieving women, and it can be any woman. All of my clients so far have been Black women or women of color. Um, and the goal is to help them go from burnout to balance. And I think I
Mhm.
should say what I think balance is because some
Mhm.
people hear the word balance and they think of a scale, work and life, and you're trying to keep it even. And I don't
Mhm.
see it that way. I
Mhm.
think of balance like a pie with all of these pieces that matter to us and
Mhm.
making sure that we are pouring into those various areas, our family, our friends, our fitness, our finances, all the things, personal development, and also our career.
Mhm.
But treating the career as part of the pie and not like, work, career and then life over here.
Right.
So I help women really. I walk them through a process called the anti-burnout plan. So the P is for pause. So we take a beat. We learn to really regulate our nervous systems. We breathe. We reconnect with our core values, just like I did at that Oprah event.
Mm-hmm.
And then the L is for love, loving themselves, loving their life. So we learn about self love, self compassion. They
Mm-hmm.
also map out a vision for what they actually want. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have A for align, where we sit and we figure out, okay, now we know what our values are. So we know what's important to us. We know
Mm-hmm.
what our vision is. So we know what we want. And now we
Mm-hmm.
align our actions in such a way that we're designing our lives in a way that kind of reflects the values and the vision. So they create their ideal daily schedule. And then the N is for no, saying no to folks.
I like
Just
that.
putting up some boundaries to protect all of the things that we know are important to us. So they create a no thank you list. We talk about
Oh,
the
no, thank you, Liz.
reasons, the reasons that they have a hard time saying no, so that they can overcome that. And then we talk about how to say no, actually, because everybody, that's, different for each person. Some people are fine with just saying nah. And other people like me say, for, thanks for considering me, but I don't have the bandwidth at the time, or whatever it may be. So walking them through that plan, at the end, they actually have a tangible anti-burnout plan that's customized for them. And then the
Hmm.
next step after that is coaching on whatever goals that they may have. But the first thing is just to get them out of that burnout.
Okay. And who do you generally coach?
High achieving professional women. And
Okay.
like I said, so far, all of my clients have either been Black women or women of color.
Okay. Okay. So I want to address something, right? Because let's talk particularly about Black women. So when we think about rest and when we think about your framework, the framework, we think about rest. So many times for us as Black women, we'll say, I'm too busy to rest. I got too
Mhm.
many things going on, right? So I want us to have a conversation and I want us to challenge possible barriers that Black women might have to these very constructive ways for our healing. Okay. Because I want Black
Mm.
women to hear these things, right? So if Black women say, I'm too busy to rest. I got things going on. Maybe they say, I'm a single mother. I don't have time to rest. What would you say?
I would say you don't have time to not rest.
Okay.
I think we need to reframe rest as um, this is not a luxury, this is essential. And I think we also need to reframe it so that we're not just thinking about sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we all need a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
However many hours, I think everybody's bodies are a little bit different, but you have an
Right.
idea of how much sleep you need. But we also need breaks. So we need
True.
to drink our water and go to the bathroom, a bathroom break. We need all breaks during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So a lovely break would be if in the middle of the day you could go outside and take a walk. I do
Mm-hmm.
something that I call sitting outside adjacent.
What's that?
So if I'm not going to go outside and take a walk, I'll just at least sit on the sofa next to the window and I'll be sitting outside adjacent. So so
Okay.
I don't look at my phone. I will
Okay.
literally sit and stare out of the window and just give
Okay.
my brain a break for a few minutes. So
Okay.
this doesn't have to be, this big deal. And a lot of self-care doesn't have to be. I think people think, "Oh my gosh, I don't have time." My clients say this all the time because I
Mm-hmm.
make them, I won't say I make them. I
You
advise
encourage
them,
them. Yes.
I encourage them to put self-care on their schedule every day. And every time I say that with a new client, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have time." Yes, you do, because
Mhm.
self-care might be a few minutes of box breathing. Self-care might be drinking some water, taking a
Mhm.
walk, doing some exercise,
Mhm.
eating
Mhm.
well, whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
So, as far as the rest, it doesn't have to be this, you know, big thing, but you have to do it, and you need to
Yeah.
take breaks, and you need to get sleep.
Yeah. And you know what I so love that you said is that number one, we need rest. But the other part, when you talk about the box breathing and other things, drinking water, is that sometimes we think self care is expensive. But self care is like easy things you can do that's free. So that's a misconception that we have in our mind is that self care is this big grand thing and you can't afford it. No, these are small things that we can do, but we have to do these things, especially right now, because I think, I really think that this time, because I just feel that the heaviness that's going on in the world right now, like I think it's just making all of us so exhausted. And if we
Yes.
don't take time to really take care of ourselves, it's going to really wear us out. Okay. Because I just think about we're, what, 6 months into this thing? I mean, I don't even know how long we into this, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And if
It
we don't
is.
find ways to kind of unplug, take care, and kind of regroup, we're we're not going to
We're
make
not
it.
gonna make it.
We're not going to make it.
Exactly.
So we have to do these things. It's very important. That's why I want us to kind of engage in this dialogue to challenge people who say, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that." Okay. The other one you said is eating well. Okay. So what about people who say something like, "I agree, Marissa. Yes, so many of us hold our breath throughout the day. Yes,
Oh my
right.
gosh.
We're just uptight, uptight all day."
Yes.
Um, what about eating well? Because that's the next one, right? I don't have time. I don't have time to cook, or I don't have time to get healthy food, or there's that type of excuse. What
Yes.
would you say to that, Dr. Quilly?
So interestingly, I was one of those people who would say that, and I
Oh,
would go and, grab something, or, I would not, like mentioned, a lean cuisine, a frozen meal or something like that. What my husband and I have been doing, and now it's been years,
hmm
on Sundays, we have groceries, and it's boring. Some people might think it's boring. That's okay. It works for us. He bakes chicken. So he makes all of this chicken.
hmm
I cut up the romaine lettuce, the tomatoes, the cucumbers. We've got feta cheese. We have the most delicious salads. And we eat salad like a few days a week. Now, we might also order pizza during the week.
hmm
Um,
hmm
but we make sure on Sundays, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It
hmm
takes us, we did it earlier today. It, so, takes an hour or something for us to sit here and do this, and we package it all up. And then every day we just go in and, make our little salads with our sliced chicken on top of it. So whatever it is that you like. And there's so many choices now. Let's just say you were like, "Oh, I still don't have time to do that." I bet you that you could order. I mean, I don't want to give shout outs to any places, but like there's all these salad places, Mediterranean salad, like Cava is what I'm thinking. But you can order from there, or you can order something that is going to be good for your body instead of what I have done in the past, like, "Oh, I like a burger and some fries all the time." A burger and fries is okay sometimes, but just trying to um, have a nutritious, healthy meal as much as you can. Um, and it doesn't have to be a big deal.
Okay, okay. So we're gonna challenge that one. Okay. What about art and creativity? What about the people who
So
say, I can't draw? Or this one. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for art and creativity. I got bills to pay. I'm playing the devil's advocate.
so years ago, I heard Michelle Obama talking to this audience of activists. And she said, you all need to plan your joy. You
Mm.
plan everything else.
Oh, I
You
love
plan
that.
work,
Plan your joy.
plan your joy. I'll send you the clip.
Oh,
I just, that it really stuck with me. But we plan, when you're a mom, you're planning play dates for your kids, you're planning their dental appointments, vacations, sometimes if you're lucky. You're planning all the stuff that they need for camp or whatever. You're planning the summer for their, all of this. Plan your own joy. So
mm.
I heard her say that, and I started thinking, I am always going to have a trip planned. And it doesn't have to be some fabulous trip. I would love for it to be, but I'm
Mhm.
going to always have a trip planned in the future. I mean, sometimes it is literally a year out. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, at least I know in a year I'm going to such and such. But
Right.
um, I always have a concert planned. We just saw Maxwell last weekend. Liz Wright is coming to town. We're going in October to see her, So whatever it is that you love, make some time for it. You make time for all these other things. And it
True.
doesn't have to be expensive. It could be a free concert in the park. If I love music, I just want to go see some live music. And then coloring, painting, doodling, journaling, whatever it is, get your creative juices flowing. Whatever kind of art that you enjoy, do it, plan it.
What about like dancing, Quayle?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
considered, right? Like turning your favorite music, like from whatever era, like you love, like you were in college and just
Yes.
dancing.
Dancing, any
And that's
kind of
free.
moving your body. That's right. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Okay.
I know a really good Afro flow yoga teacher too.
Look at my sis. Okay. Yes. Yes. I am becoming an Afroflow yoga teacher, everybody. Yes. So I do offer Afroflow yoga classes virtually. So I think that was a gentle nudge for me to have another Afroflow yoga class. So I will be having another one, everybody. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have another Afroflow yoga class and I'll post that in the community tab about when I have another class. Okay, everybody. So it'll be
Awesome.
free, completely free. Okay. So thank you, sis. Okay, so the next one is one of my personal favorites, of course, 'cause I'm a therapist. You said therapy. So interestingly, even though during the time that we've been in the past 5 years, I would say there's less stigma about therapy. But would you say that there's still some stigma in our community about therapy?
Yes, I do believe that there is. And I
Mhm.
think that Black women are so accustomed to just pushing through. I'll figure it out. I got it. But I think everyone should go to therapy. Therapy helped me so much. After I made that initial decision to close the practice, um, I realized I still needed some support. So, I had closed the practice, I was working, I was spending more time with my daughter and my husband. So, all of that was good. That was my first step in self care. But my therapist, a Black woman, was able to, um, most impactfully, if that's a word, able to really look like my patterns, what I was doing, and tell me, you are really hard on yourself. And she's the one that introduced me to the concept of self compassion, which literally changed my life. So I just think, yes, there is some stigma. Yes, we are conditioned to push through, carry the world on our shoulders, but we don't have to. And it is such a beautiful experience to have some time dedicated just to talk about you. How often do you get to do that? I love this also with coaching.
Yeah.
But therapy, a therapist has all of this education, all of these
Hmm.
tools that can help you see, kind of put all the pieces together and
Hmm.
then help you move forward.
Yeah, you feel
So
seen and heard. You feel seen and heard. And I've had so many Black women contact me for therapy, like even in a consultation call, and they'll say something like, I used to see a therapist who was not a Black woman, and I felt so invalidated, where I would tell them about my experience in a toxic job, and they would say something like, "You sure it wasn't you? You sure it wasn't another way to see it? You sure it wasn't, and just feeling like you get it, you see me, you understand. And so being somewhere where you don't have to, kind of validate or explain your own life experiences can be so healing just in of that, right? And so for us to just be open to therapy is such a place for us to reality test and to feel so valued and to be in a place where we can just fully be ourselves. And even if you may have had a negative experience with a therapist, don't just say therapy is not helpful or therapy. Just look for other therapists, okay? Don't just say
yes.
therapy is not helpful because maybe you just haven't found the right therapist. So I do have a video in my description section on YouTube about how to find a therapist. So if you don't see it on YouTube, if you're not watching me on YouTube, you can go to my YouTube channel and look for how to find a therapist on my YouTube channel, and you can look at that video. Okay. So therapy. What
Let me
about
say
high?
one more.
Yes.
Let me say one more
Uh-huh.
thing about therapy. I was having a conversation with I won't say who or I'll just say someone who I love, and she said to me that this is about finding the therapist that's for you. She had gone to see a therapist that was not a person of color. And she said that she was in the session, she was talking, and there was just a lack of connection. And she felt like she was having to explain certain things that she knew if she was speaking to a Black woman that she wouldn't have to explain. And she said, I realized I was paying her to teach her something and explain something to her. So anyway, she ended up finding some another therapist. So to
Yeah.
your point, if you go and it's not a good experience for whatever reason, find somebody else. But
Yeah.
don't just say, "Oh, therapy isn't for me." That
Yeah.
therapist or that particular experience might not be for you, but I think we can all benefit from going to therapy.
Absolutely. Like you are not in therapy to educate the therapist about the Black experience. That's
Correct.
not why you're in therapy, okay? Okay, so the next one was hydration. Hydration.
Anybody who says they don't have time to hydrate sounds like me when I was saying, "Oh, I'm not going to drink anything because I don't want to have to take a bathroom break." And come on, we need to be hydrated. Um,
Exactly.
and even if you are like, "Oh, well, I don't have time to take a whole bunch of bathroom breaks or whatever it may be," just do the basics and it'll be good for your skin too. So you'll stay pretty. Okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, yes, look good too. And also I want to just note that one of our Spelman sisters, Chef B, who is on YouTube, periodically has a hydration challenge. So
Oh,
she's one of our Spelman sisters. So check her out. Chef B has a hydration challenge, and I've taken that before. So check that out. And then the last one is that exercise?
yes, that
Okay.
E.
Yes,
Mhm.
exercise. So what'd you say about that? I
Afro
got one for
flow.
you. I got this one. I got this one. Uh, uh, it's gonna mess up my hair. I've heard that one a lot. I have heard that one a lot. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I want to, but it's gonna mess up my hair. And
I mean, that's real though. And I will tell you, I cut my hair in 2014 because I was committed to exercise. I was like, I'm going to start exercising. And I did. And I kind of, over the years, I fall off, I pick back up, I fall off, I pick back up. But I had gone, I used to go literally every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I would go get my hair blow dried and all of that. And sometimes if I stepped outside and there was humidity, I didn't even have to exercise. It it would just start expanding. So that's real. I understand that. But I think we have to look at the risk benefit here and say, let me move my body some kind
True.
of way. And
True.
they have all these things that you can, kind of
Yeah, gym wraps and all that kind of
the
stuff too.
gym rats.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
So there's we have to think about priorities too, right? So there's
Yes.
other ways, walking, like there's other ways we can do to move our bodies or yoga. It doesn't have to be like you're like profusely sweating, but something to do to move our bodies, okay? So
Yes.
basically what we're saying, and again, I hope you are able to see by Dr. Kweli and I kind of going through these things that you are able to go through these things and the excuses we can't keep doing these excuses. It's not going to help us. Okay. So a question did come in, Dr. Quilly. They said, ask you about the cheap date book. What was a cheap date book?
So before I wrote this book, I did a practice round of publishing, self-publishing.
Okay.
And so I wrote a book about cheap dates. Who
Is it, you see it in the chat? You see?
Mm-mm. I don't see a chat on my screen.
Okay. I'll tell you after because I don't know if they
Okay.
want me to call them out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No problem. But I wrote a book that had all these cheap date ideas.
Okay.
And I did it under a pen name.
Oh,
Actually, I did it under a husband and a wife. So it's called, oh my gosh, what's the name of my book? The Ultimate Cheap Dates Guide or something like that, with a husband and wife. It's got a green cover with a white heart on it. So that
well,
was
when you
my
find it, you got to tell me so I can put it in the description section.
okay, I will. I
You
will.
got a
That's so
fan.
funny.
You got a fan for all your work.
That's so funny. That was my first like practice. Let me figure out. It was a challenge actually to write a book and publish a book on Amazon. So I did that. I also did some kids coloring books, like for Black kids, career coloring books. Then I did a grief coloring book, and then I did all of that was leading to me writing this book.
Look at this prolific writer, this prolific author. Okay.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love it. I love it. Okay. So we're going to start reading the community chat. So I see Cynthia. Hey, Cynthia. Sunday evening greetings, sisters. Hey, this is time for me to go to the dentist, which I've been putting off for good knows how long. Yes, make your appointment to the dentist. Yes. Hey,
Yes,
Marissa.
self-care.
Yes, I can so relate to this. Yes. Hey, Angeline. Life is a series of pivots. So true. So true. I feel serious burnout about now. I need to pivot. Yes. Proud of you, Kweli. I learned that last year and after being laid off last week. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the silver lining and taking some time to reset. I'm sorry, sis. I'm so sorry. Yes. Yes, 400,000 Black women laid off. Yes, so important. They are intentionally creating fear to make us overwork ourselves. Agreed. Please help me explain to women that pivot is not a failure. It's not. I'm working with women who would benefit from leaving the current job due to burnout, but they feel like a failure and disappointment if they do. Yeah, see, that's a mind trap, right? That we have to
Mhm.
work as Black women to challenge that. That's a way to get us to stay in oppressive environments. We have to challenge that.
Mhm.
Okay. So again, I'm going to put Dr. Quayle's website up there. That's how you can contact her. Yes, we talked about that. I love to get Costco chicken skewers to add to salads throughout the week. Smart, 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 smart. I use Google to find a farm near my home that offers delivery services. Oh, that's smart. Every week they deliver fresh produce and it's been a game changer. The fresh produce is delicious. Oh, that is awesome. Yes, plan your own joy. Yes. I struggle with our baby therapist as well. I need a middle-aged sister with natural hair and trauma. Okay, look, if you're trying to find a more seasoned therapist, different options, okay? So you can go to Psychology Today or therapy for Black girls or Black female therapists. There's a lot of online directories, and you can actually see the pictures of the therapist. Psychology Today does have an option to have see videos of the therapist, so you can get a more seasoned Black woman therapist and kind of look at the background. Okay, it's already tried to show up to the meeting exhausted. My joy is my responsibility. It is. We have to take
Mm.
responsibility for our joy. Absolutely. So, Dr. Kweli, as we are winding down, do you have any? Oh, wait, I have to ask you this question. I got to ask you this question. So, what would you say to Black women in leadership positions who are experiencing burnout? Because I asked Dr. Wendy, who's a psychologist, about this last time, who are in leadership positions experiencing burnout, but they say something like, I can't leave this place because if I leave, the place will fall apart. And or I can't leave this place because if I leave, I'll be abandoning my team and there'll be
Mm.
nobody to protect my team from upper management. But they're struggling. Like they're
Mm.
burnout. They're really like in a bad place. What would you say to those Black women who are in these leadership positions? What would you say to them?
Say that that is really coming from a beautiful place, especially wanting to protect the team.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have to take care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to sound so alarmist, but what happens if you stay and that job kills you?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you are burned out and it is affecting your health, it is
Mm-hmm.
affecting your relationships with folks
Mm-hmm.
because you are snapping at them, if it's
Mm-hmm.
affecting your relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
because now you are feeling bad or feeling like, a failure because this job, how whatever the situation is that's there, is wearing you down. You have to look out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I understand being concerned about others,
Mm-hmm.
but prioritize you.
Mm. Good, 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 good. Okay. And then any last words you want to say to the community as we're winding down?
I did want to say something. Somebody in the comments you just read said that pivot is not a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to say something about that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't believe in the concept of failure anymore. I believe that you try things and you get information
Mm-hmm.
from what you try, and then you decide where to go from there. I tell
Mm-hmm.
my daughter is 26. I tell her this all the time. There's no failure. And if you're not failing at something, you're not actually trying things either. So try, see, you're on the path, you
Mm-hmm.
go this way, it's serving you well, you keep going. It's not
Mm-hmm.
serving you well, you go another way.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of you. What do you need? What is important to you? And
Mm-hmm.
prioritize that. And
Mm-hmm.
then say no to the other stuff.
Mm. So it's a reframe. It's a reframe. So it helps you determine maybe which direction and maybe self correct, right? Like, okay, that didn't quite work. Maybe I can try something different, but don't maybe beat ourselves up so much. Like you said, self compassion. Self compassion is so important. And for me, what has been so important is self forgiveness. Like, I have to
Mm.
forgive myself for maybe missteps or mm, mistakes that I made, or I would say not leaving a toxic job earlier, right? Because I hear a lot of Black women say, I should have left that toxic job years ago. I should have done all this, all these things, right? And if I would have left that job a long time ago, those terrible things wouldn't have happened to me. And and I see that the issue of shame came, right? The issue of shame. And, if I would have left that job a long time ago, they wouldn't have humiliated me like that. And I'm ashamed that these things happen to me, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, it was embarrassing and humiliating, the things that happened to me. But I have to practice self forgiveness that I made the best decisions that I made at the time,
With
right?
the
And
information
so,
that you had, with what you were able to do at that time.
exactly, exactly. So the same thing as relation to the notion of a failure, right? So
Mhm.
you're doing the best in the moment, and we have to remind ourselves of that. And so stressing self-compassion, self-forgiveness, because when we get stuck in failure, we get stuck in those negative self-messages, it keeps us stuck and it's not productive. Shame doesn't help us, doesn't
I
help
don't-
us. So we have to reject that. And the main thing we have to focus is on is what are we doing individually and collectively to support our healing, especially right now, especially right now. So, everybody, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I want to say to my Spelman sister, Dr. Kweli, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, the Emergency Money Tips Masterclass is happening this Thursday with Dr. Roche Brown, who's a financial psychologist. This is for Black women either who've lost their jobs or if you kind of see the writing on the wall at your job and you kind of are insecure that maybe you may be losing your job or you just want to get a handle on what you need to do about money stuff, you need to come to the masterclass, which is this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time. As I mentioned before, is Zoom webinar, so you will not be seen on camera, okay? Information about the masterclass is going across the screen. It's also in the description section of this video. Okay. So I also want to let you know I'm about to jump onto another live. I'm about to go on Sandra's channel from Lack to Legacy with Dr. Roche Brown talking about the Emergency Money Tips Masterclass. So if you want to see me over there from Lack to Legacy on YouTube, then check me out over there. Okay. So again, everyone, give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with at least 2 other Black women. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. And turn the notification bell so you know when I go live. Okay, see you later, everybody. I hope to see you over on From Black to Legacy. Okay, see you later. Bye, everyone.